Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. We talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Roach Jeffrey, and subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our video. We are down to our final two teams and the final game of the 2023 USFL season, and I'm going to preview and predict which team I think will win the USFL Championship game this year. You've got the Pittsburgh Maulers at 5-6 and the Birmingham Stallions at 9-2. This is a really interesting game because of the fact that on paper, it looks like the Birmingham Stallions are going to easily win this game. They should mop up the floor with the Pittsburgh Maulers because after the Birmingham Stallions actually started the season struggling a little bit, they have completely turned it around and they are firing on all cylinders, playing at an extremely high level. They've won their last several games mostly by a wide margin, and they just look like a very confident football team. Ever since Alex McGough has taken over for Jamar Smith at the quarterback position and he's had time to develop into Skip Holtz's offense, he's been playing so much better. And I think that's going to really help the Birmingham Steins potentially be able to win this game. But the Pittsburgh Maulers, they don't want to be a pushover, and I feel like that they're going to do everything they possibly can to be the USFL's version of the Arlington Renegades. They were 5-6 as well, and they were able to beat the DC Defenders in the XFL Championship game. So it's not like this is going to be a slam dunk, even though I do think the Birmingham Steins have shown that when they're at their best, they're better than the DC Defenders. I just do not think that the Pittsburgh Maulers are going to lay flat after getting all the way here to the championship game and let the Birmingham Stallions easily defeat them. But regardless, it should be a really solid game, but Pittsburgh is going to have to play at their best if they do want to beat the Stallions because their record still is 5-6. So that shows you they had some struggles throughout the season. And last week, they did beat the Michigan Panthers 31-27 in the USFL playoff semifinals, and that was a wild game that went down to the wire. Pittsburgh was down late in the game, but then they were able to take the lead. Michigan tied the game, and then it went to overtime, and it looked like Michigan was going to have a shot, but on a crazy call where the referees took back the two-point conversion, Pittsburgh was able to hold on and allowed them to get to the USFL Championship game. So sometimes luck can break your way, and they're going to have some more luck again if they want to beat Birmingham because Troy Willams, he did have a solid game. He was 23 of 40 for 203 yards and a touchdown, and he had 6 carries for 36 yards last week against Michigan. I do feel like Troy Willams is going to have an even better game by a potentially substantial amount if Pittsburgh wants to beat Birmingham because of the fact the Stallions are playing so well and their defense is so talented. So I do think Troy Willams is going to have an A-plus game to have a shot to win. Garrett Groshek, he had 14 carries for 32 yards and a touchdown and 2 receptions for 38 yards. And Madre London had 6 carries for 22 yards. So the rushing attack was decent last week for the Pittsburgh Maulers, but if they could not get a lot of yards on the ground against Michigan, it's going to be extremely hard for them to do it against Birmingham. Isaiah Henney had 6 receptions for 83 yards, and Bailey Gaither had 1 reception for 6 yards, and he had 1 carry for 4 yards and a touchdown. So it shows his versatility as a wide receiver that can run the football as well. So I do think that Pittsburgh's offense is solid. They've actually improved as the season's gone along, just like the Birmingham Stallions. And I do think that their defense is pretty capable, but they aren't a team that's able to really keep a team from getting a lot of yards on offense. They have to be able to put up a lot of points to be able to win because their defense is just pretty solid. So I do think that the Pittsburgh Maulers have a great chance to win, but they're going to have to play well on both sides of the ball if they want to be able to beat the Birmingham Steins because, again, the Stallions are playing so well. They're 9-2, and last week they demolished the New Orleans Breakers 47-22. I thought Birmingham would have a great chance to beat New Orleans, but I did not know it was going to be by that much because when you're in a playoff semifinal game like that, you feel like both teams are going to play hard. I think New Orleans did, but Birmingham just sucked the life out of them in that game, and Alex McGough was a big reason why. He is playing some peak football right now, some of the best football of his career, and it's all thanks to Skip Holtz getting him comfortable in the offense. He was 21 of 31 for 310 yards and 4 touchdowns, and he had 8 carries for 84 yards and a touchdown. That was probably the best performance by any quarterback in the USFL this season. Alex McGough played a fantastic game. Ricky Person Jr. had 10 carries for 84 yards, and he had a reception for 24 yards and a touchdown. He had his best game in a Birmingham Stallions uniform as well. He played really solid. CJ Marable 11 carries for 72 yards and a touchdown. Birmingham ran for almost 250 yards against the New Orleans Breakers. If the Stallions are rushing for that many yards against the Pittsburgh Maulers, they should easily win this game. So Pittsburgh's defense is going to have to make sure that the Birmingham Stallions cannot get that many yards on the ground, and they're going to have to make Alex McGough put the ball in the air. But then you've got a trio of receivers that are really dangerous for Birmingham, which makes it tough to just stop the ground attack for Birmingham because Darius Days at 5 receptions for 75 yards and 2 touchdowns, Deion Kane at 8 receptions for 74 yards, and Jay Sternberger at 3 receptions for 62 yards and a touchdown. He's one of the best tight ends in the USFL. The Birmingham Steins have a great great receiving core, and that's what's helping Alex McGough as well. McGough's doing his job. He's playing really solid football. He's throwing the ball right to his receivers and getting the ball right where the receivers need it to be. But the receiving core is definitely helping because they're very talented, and the Stallions probably have the deepest and most talented receiving core in the USFL. And now that comes down to the verdict. Who is going to win the 2023 USFL Championship game? Birmingham is the obvious answer. They're playing great football on both sides of the ball. Skip Holtz is the more experienced coach. But the Pittsburgh Maulers, they show a little bit of pluckiness in them, just like the Arlington Renegades in the XFL. They found a way to beat the Michigan Panthers. They had a little bit of luck, and you never know. Luck could occur again in the USFL Championship game. Anything can happen in football, and Birmingham is not a team that's just so talented that you think that talent alone is going to help them win. Even though they are a really talented team, I think the Pittsburgh Maulers are going to have a shot on the offensive end as long as Troy Willams doesn't make mistakes, but he's going to have to look out for Shark Dog and Scooby Wright and some of the other players on Birmingham's defense that will be coming after him. I think that the Pittsburgh Maulers rushing attack will have to do better in this game if they want to beat the Birmingham Steins, but I just don't know if they're going to have a lot of success on the ground. I think the Maulers defense will have to slow down Alex McGough, but if New Orleans defense couldn't do it, I don't know if Pittsburgh will as well. Birmingham, you could say, has a shot to slip up because they beat New Orleans so easily that maybe they could overlook Pittsburgh, but even in Birmingham's game in the last week of the regular season, in Week 10, the game that they didn't even have to win because of the fact they were already locked for the playoffs, they still played really well. That's just Skip Holt's winning mentality, always having his team prepared and ready to win. This game's in Canton, Ohio, so it's not going to help out either team with the home field advantage. I think Pittsburgh's going to give Birmingham a great game, and they're going to do everything they can to win, but at the end of the day, I'm going with the Birmingham Stallions to beat the Pittsburgh Maulers 31-24 for the Stallions to move to 10-2 at the end of the season and win their second consecutive USFL Championship. They won it last year in 2022, and I think that they're going to find a way to win it again in 2023 despite the best efforts from the Pittsburgh Maulers. So that's my preview and prediction for the 2023 USFL Championship game. I'm going with the Birmingham Steins to find a way to win. I'm looking forward to the game. Comment down below what you think about the 2023 USFL Championship game and my pick for the championship winner, whether you think that the Birmingham Stallions or the Pittsburgh Maulers will find a way to win the championship game in the USFL in 2023. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Follow me on Twitter. Link is in the description, and I'll see you next time.